So you're PCSing to Whidbey Island and trying to figure out if you should rent or buy. Well, maybe you've heard of the VA loan, but you're not exactly sure how it works, or maybe you've used it before, but you'd like a refresher on how it works, and you're wondering if it's even worth exploring in this wild housing market. Well, let me say this. Your VA loan benefit might just be the key to owning a piece of this beautiful Pacific Northwest paradise instead of just renting or being in base housing. If you're headed to NAS Whidbey, this is a benefit you've earned, and it can save you tens of thousands of dollars if you use it right. Hi friends, I am Leah Courage, a local real estate broker serving Oak Harbor, Whidbey Island, and the greater North Puget Sound. And on this channel, we talk about all things relocation, real estate, and lifestyle in one of the most breathtaking corners of our country. If you're active duty Navy, chances are you've heard about VA loans, but maybe you haven't actually had someone take the time to break it down for you, especially in the context of moving to a place like Whidbey Island. Well, that is exactly what we're doing today. This is your full guide to using your VA loan benefit with confidence, what it actually costs, and how to navigate the process of buying a home while transitioning to base. So let's dive in. First, let's talk basics. VA loans are one of the most powerful benefits available to service members, and they're not just some generic government perk. These loans are backed by the Department of Veterans Affairs and specifically designed to make homeownership more accessible for people just like you. The three big features that set VA loans apart are, number one, no down payment required. Number two, no private mortgage insurance. And number three, extremely competitive interest rates. Think of it like this. You're not paying full price. You're using the military equivalent of a gold level membership to skip the giant out-of-pocket costs that most civilians have to save up a long time for. It's like walking into a car dealership and being told, hey, that $10,000 deposit, don't worry about it. You've earned the VIP treatment. As well you should. In our opinion, it's the least that this country can do for you, and we thank you for your service to the United States from the Courage Group. Now let's zoom into the local real estate scene here on Whidbey Island. Oak Harbor, Coupeville, and even nearby Anacortes, these towns aren't sprawling cities with unlimited inventory. In fact, it's quite the opposite. You're dealing with an island housing market, limited land, limited homes, and a consistent stream of buyers, many of them military, coming and going. So prices reflect that. The average home price in Oak Harbor right now is hovering in the low $400,000 range, and newer construction or water view properties you'll see reaching into the $500s or even the $600,000 range. It's fairly competitive, but the good news is your VA loan can make it possible to buy here without spending a giant chunk of savings from the bank. So let's walk through what this actually looks like. Let's say you want to buy a home for $450,000 in Oak Harbor. With a VA loan, your down payment is, wait for it, $0. That alone saves you over $22,000 compared to a conventional loan requiring a minimum of 5% down. Now, the VA does charge what's called a funding fee. That's how the program stays sustainable, but many service members are exempt from paying it, especially if you've had a service-connected disability rating. If you're not exempt, your funding fee on a first-time use loan with no down payment is 2.15%. So that's about $9,675, using our previous example, added to the loan amount. Again, you're not bringing this to the table at closing in cash, but it is added to your total balance. You will also have closing costs. These are things like escrow fees, lender fees, and prepaid taxes and insurance, but those are often negotiable and can even be covered by the seller or wrapped into the loan depending on the situation. Total closing costs might range between $7,000 and even $20,000 depending on the home, the lender, and your circumstances as a borrower. Compared to a conventional loan, you'd be looking at a 5% down payment, private mortgage insurance, otherwise known as PMI, and higher rates if your credit score isn't stellar. The VA loan wins this one for most cases, especially for first-time buyers, and especially when trying to minimize out-of-pocket expenses during a PCS move. Now, let's talk about some things that are a little bit more unique to buying on Whidbey Island. First up, the bridge. Yes, this is an island, but you don't have to take a ferry, thankfully. Deception Pass Bridge connects Oak Harbor to the mainland, and while it's one of the most scenic drives you'll ever take, it's also the only road in or out by car. If you're living in Coupeville or further south on the island, keep in mind your commute to base might be a little bit longer of a drive. And for some, That's worth it for a quieter lifestyle and for bigger properties. Just factor in how much time you want to spend in the car and how often you'll need to get off the island for shopping, travel, or other types of family visits, for example. Next up, your BAH, or your base allowance for housing. Oak Harbor falls under the Whidbey Island zip code, and your BAH is determined based on your rank and dependent status. As of this year, an E5 with dependents gets around $2,100 a month in BAH. It's a decent housing budget, and with VA financing, you can often, not always, but often, find a home for less than you'd pay in rent for similar quality, especially if you plan to stay more than a couple years or keep the property as a rental after your PCS orders change. Appraisals are another thing that people have to worry about. The VA has their own appraisal process, and yes, it can be a little more conservative than conventional lenders. But here's the good news. VA appraisers in military-heavy areas like Whidbey understand the dynamics of the market here. They know what base housing is like. They know what homes near the flight paths sound like. They understand the demand and pricing structure of these neighborhoods. It's not some random appraiser from Seattle coming up here to guess at home values. They're local and they're experienced with military buyers. So, how do you actually get started now? First, get pre-approved. This is something that you can and should do before you ever step foot in a house. A VA-savvy lender will walk you through your entitlement, confirm your eligibility, and help you understand what price range works with your BAH and your monthly budget. The pre-approval process can take just a couple days and is one of the smartest things that you can do early in your PCS timeline. I highly encourage you to work with a local lender in the Western Washington area who understands the ins and outs of real estate in Oak Harbor. And I have some excellent VA lenders that I would love to put you in touch with. So if you need someone, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Next, once you find the right home after being pre-approved, most VA purchases close in about 30 to 45 days. That timeline really matters, especially if you're working around a report date or temporary housing expiration date. The earlier we can start the process, the smoother your transition will be, and the better chance we have of negotiating terms that benefit you. So, to sum it up, if you're moving to NAS Whidbey, your VA loan is one of the best tools you have. It opens the door to home ownership in a competitive but highly desirable market, and it does so without needing a huge pileup of cash upfront. From no down payment to potentially lower monthly costs than renting, it's a smart move if you understand how to use it. And that's what I'm here to help you do. Thank you so much for watching, and if you found this information helpful, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video about life in Oak Harbor in the North Puget Sound. And if you're PCSing to NAS Whidbey and thinking about buying a home, or if you're already in Oak Harbor and planning on selling your home, we would love to work with you. Our contact information is below, and we would truly be honored to help you make your next move with the utmost of confidence. Thank you for watching. Keep exploring, and we will see you in the next video.